The 20 to 30 lakh rupee bracket is quite an important one because it highlights the difference between want and need. Now there are cars like the Camrys and the Superbs which could be all the car that you ever need, versus cars like the A3s and the CLAs of the world which lure you with that badge on the grille. Now more often than not, want ends up taking precedence over need. And that is the reason why this segment has seen lovely cars like the Accord, the Sonata or even the Passat dwindle away. But the Camry and the Superb, they have held their ground strongly. And the last time we compared them, the Superb came out to be the winner. But this time we have new versions of both the cars, which means that we need to revisit that comparison. With its understated looks for generations, the Camry has come to be known as a boring car. Though this generation of the Camry started life on a similar note, the facelift it got in 2014 counters that thought with a more aggressive design. The update gives it a Lexusy gaping grille, the saber-tooth turn blinkers and plenty of chrome treatment. While the headlights look quite handsome with their twin-pot lights and LED DRLs, I'm not a big fan of the Camry's overtly large taillights. But these, along with the flared rear bumpers, give the Camry a sense of width that one would like to associate with a car in this bracket. Unless again, want supersedes need. The edgy design theme does work well for the Camry, but if you like your cars to look sharp, then you won't be able to get your eyes off the new Superb. My colleagues even say that it is arguably the best looking sedan on sale in India. As I've said before, the downside to this new design is that the Superb doesn't look that stately anymore. If you don't like it that way, the Camry could be more appealing to you. The Superb's sportier, hunkered down stance has its unique charm though. It easily looks more modern and arguably more upmarket than the Camry. Since design is more of a personal preference, I'll put my money on this one. That said, the same design flair is not seen on the inside of the Superb. If you're familiar with the Octavia, the Superb's cabin will look like a minor evolution of it. But that isn't a bad thing. The simple layering looks quite good and the gloss black inserts lift the feel of the cabin. With the infotainment getting rid of most of the car's switchgear, the center console looks clean and minimalist. It is a typical European cabin and is in the league of the German compacts when it comes to look and feel. The design of the Camry's interior, it's typically Asian, the kind of colors and fonts that they've used. Now even though the touchscreen system does take center stage, the switches and the forward will remind you of those old school JDM models, and that has its own appeal. The Camry's cabin ends up looking a tad plasticky. Unlike the Superb, the infotainment doesn't get the latest generation of smartphone connectivity either. Both the cars get wide front seats with electrical adjustments and ventilation function, but the real charm is at the back. Rear seat space, that has always been the Superb's forte, and the new one improves on it. Like I told you in the first day report as well, leg room, headroom, there's plenty of it. The glass house is nice and big, so you don't get that claustrophobic feeling either. You can also adjust the front seat from the back for recline and reach, of course, to increase more space. I still have that grudge. I told you in the first drive report again, I do not like that the B-pillar mounted AC vents are not there anymore. These ones were not effective in Coorg, in the hot and humid climate of Coorg. Here in Lonavala, it's still hot, it's a sunny day, and I'm still not too happy with the rear AC. But when it comes to rear seat comfort and luxuries, the Camry grins because this is its trump card over the Superb. The space is comparable, maybe a little more in the Camry. You can get controls for the front seats from the back in the Camry as well. But the real controls are here. What you get is reclining seats. I also get my own window blind. And overall, the sense of opulence in here is much better than the Superb. Of course, the Superb feels a little more premium, but the way the seats are laid out here, the kind of bolstering it has, the kind of comfort it has, spot on. The Camry's rear aircon certainly works better for our conditions than the Superb. The Toyota seats are softer too, which is great for city commutes or short distance trips. On longer journeys though, the Superb's stiffer cushioning will be a better bet. But in a nutshell, the Camry's rear seat is the place to be if you are the chauffeur-driven type. Let's talk about the performance from behind the wheel now. Toyota certainly deserves a pat on the back. Now, instead of ranting about the lack of infrastructure for vehicles with alternate propulsion, they actually went ahead and gave us those hybrids. They brought in the Prius,
and then strengthen that commitment with the Camry Hybrid.
The Camry Hybrid, with its eco-friendly nature, enjoyed a price rebate from the Indian government in 2015 and is therefore only about 3 lakh rupees dearer than its petrol sibling. The hybrid uses a detuned 2.5-litre engine from the petrol variant but also gets 2 electric motors. The petrol and electric motors have healthy torque outputs of 213 and 270 Newton meters respectively. The combined power output is claimed at 205 PS.
For a car this size and with those sort of figures, you expect the fuel economy figures to be not that good. But then, in the city, this will give you almost 30 kilometers to a litre. That is because when you are in crawling bumper-to-bumper traffic or at city speeds, it's the batteries and the electric motor that is doing most of the driving. The petrol engine is just about charging those batteries again. And out on the highway, when you need the power or the shove, that is when the petrol engine really kicks in.
When at constant speed, the petrol and electric motors work in tandem. Upon deceleration or under braking, the recovered energy is fed back to the batteries. I wasn't too happy with the feel of the brakes on our tester though. They felt grabby and inconsistent at city speeds.
Take note, Toyota, you certainly need some sort of a welcome tune when you start this car. Because on startup, because this boots up in a EV only mode, there's no sound at all.
Camry uses a continuously variable transmission. While the healthy torque allows you to pull instant overtakes, the rubber band effect of the CVT is irritatingly evident on the highway, especially when you experience the superb drivetrain.
The Superb is offered with 2 engine options. There is a petrol and a diesel. The one we are driving for this comparison is the 1.8 petrol. So as far as those figures go, it is certainly underpowered as compared to the Camry. However, its real-world performance speaks something else. 0 to 100 comes up in about 8.1 seconds, which is almost half a second quicker than the Camry. And top speed is also higher.
The optional DSD box on our Testa doesn't seem as quick as some of the other DSD boxes from the Volkswagen Group, nor is it as pure as its manual counterpart. But the paddle shifters and the different driving modes make this car an absolute delight to drive when you're in the mood to get behind the wheel. The Camry doesn't even come close. The driving modes also affect the weight of the steering, so while the Camry steering feels a tad heavy at all times, the Superb's unit can be set to light at city speeds and heavier for spirited driving.
Whether you're sitting at the back or the front, the Superb is also quite a silent cabin to be in. Not as silent as the Camry does a slightly better job at cutting out the engine and the suspension noises. Road noises in both the cars are comparable. The only additional noise in the cabin of the Superb is those of the ventilators in the front seats.
So while the cabin of the Camry is the more comfortable place to be in if you are seldom going to get behind the wheel, the Superb is what you would want to pick if you love to drive. It also offers a lot more safety features than the Jap. In fact, in this price bracket that is made up of limos like these and compact luxury cars from the big Germans, the Superb offers the best balance between space, drivability and premium features.
It's been a really hard test. It doesn't look like that on paper, but believe me, it was. Not just because of the heat. I hope this is the last shoot that we have for the summer before the rain set in. But also because picking out a clear winner out of these two cars is really difficult. Now the Camry with its eco-friendly hybrid technology and the fabled Toyota reliability and of course that big rear seat, lot of seat space, lot of comfort, good luxury features. With all those, it still probably is the more sensible buy over the Superb if you are the chauffeur-driven type. However, the Superb with its new age design, which I think looks stunning, all the features, its drivability and the beautiful range of engine options that it has, I think it would still be my pick.